Hi, I'm Faith McCann, and I've been a witch for over 40 years. And no, we are not evil. Learn more about the magical world and how the magical world affects your world right here on The Magical Alternative. And you don't have to be a witch to watch. And hello, magical ones, and welcome to The Magical Alternative. I am Faith McCann. And welcome, November Sound, everyone. Give me a hand. And hello, crew of The Magical Alternative. Couldn't do this without you. And welcome to September. Tonight we are discussing the 17th century witch panics in colonial America and how they're the foundation, in my personal opinion, of our constitutional Bill of Rights. We're also going to be talking about some gruesome origins of fairy tales. And we have a very exciting guest in studio tonight. She's a mother, she's Latina, she's an elected public official, she's everything that represents what's wonderful about our country today. We'll be talking soon with Miss Jessie Muniz Poland. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. Hi, I'm Faith McCann, the host of The Magical Alternative. I really hope you've been enjoying our show. Have you checked out the other interesting, entertaining, and informative shows here at Community Voice Channel? Local government, religion, and entertainment right here in your home or on your personal digital device. Well, public access television is in danger of being canceled. I know, that's right. Government funding is being cut, and we want to continue giving you the shows that you enjoy. You can show your support by scanning this QR code with your smartphone and make any size donation. All donations go to keep your favorite shows coming to you every month. We thank you for your support. Well, every September I lecture about the 17th century witch panics. Back in the 1600s, when the first person was accused of witchcraft in colonial America, and eventually put to death. You may be thinking of Salem, Massachusetts, but you would be wrong. The first person was accused and tried and hung right here in Hartford, Connecticut. Her name was Alice Young from Windsor, Connecticut, and in 1647, she was hung at the then New State House in Hartford, Connecticut. She was 47 years old and a single woman. There's no written record as to why she was accused, what caused her to be charged, arrested, and finally hung on conviction of practicing witchcraft. But at the time in Connecticut, the law at the time was in 1647. Connecticut followed laws based on the Bible and the Fundamental Orders of Connecticut. Now, they were an established framework for government and individual rights. That might sound like what we have today with the Constitution, but that wasn't really the case. Many of the laws, particularly the capital laws, were rooted in biblical principles, with the first capital law of Connecticut focusing on belief in God. That's right, it was a capital law that you had to believe in God, and the second addressing witchcraft. But let's go back a few years prior to this. Roger Ludlow, an attorney in London, England, educated at Oxford, and a member of the Inner Temple. That sounds kind of witchy if you ask me. Well, that was an association of lawyers dedicated to the study and instruction of the law in London. He arrived in America in 1630 at the age of 40. He was an assistant to the Massachusetts Bay Company. In 1636, dissatisfied with the political issues developing in Massachusetts, sounds kind of familiar, Ludlow joined other settlers in Connecticut and helped establish the town of Windsor. Since he was the only attorney in the colony, it's believed he was asked to draft the Fundamental Orders of Connecticut, considered the first constitution in America. Well, let us say instead, more accurately, the Fundamental Orders of Connecticut was considered a first draft of a constitution in colonial America, and very unlike our Constitution today. I have been studying the 17th century witch panics in colonial America and earlier in Europe for over 40 years. Considering who I am and what I do, it's always been an interest of mine. And I have found in my research and studies incredible correlation to our Bill of Rights and the 17th century witch panics, which I'm going to explain to you now. Roger Ludlow, who also served as the 1st, the 4th, and the 10th Lieutenant Governor of Connecticut, was asked to create a Bill of Rights. This became the Code of 1650. The code contains laws that not only prohibit murder, forgery, and theft, and that's a good thing, they also prohibited heresy, idleness, and stubbornness. These were laws. Could you be guilty of breaking the law of being idle or stubborn? Don't ask my husband. And heresy, that was a tricky word, which is Greek for choice. But it actually meant you chose a path not aligned with the church. And it depended on where you were in Europe or colonial America, which church you were not aligned with. The Code of 1650, like the laws of the old country, were a compilation of religious and moral laws restricting behavior of children, regardless of parental control, as well as the behavior of everyone in the community. Some examples, and let's keep in mind our Bill of Rights today and our Declaration of Independence from Great Britain, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, they weren't exactly at the top of the list back in the 17th century. The Code of 1650 stated you had to go to church on Sunday, just to start with. And that was an all-day affair. Puritans in New England religiously and rigorously observed the Sabbath from sunset on Saturday to sunset on Sunday. They had 2 main services. Generally, 2 long services were held, one in the morning, and then they had a break for lunch and a bit of a rest, and then another very lengthy service in the afternoon. Each service could last for several hours with prayers, singing, scripture readings, and lengthy sermons. They had a midday break, as I mentioned. That was for a midday meal, and in the summer, some relaxation or napping might occur. The entire day was considered a day of worship, rest, and spiritual reflection, not just a brief service. There was restriction of activities like shaving, making beds, preparing foods were all prohibited during the Sabbath. Now, the emphasis on scripture and preaching, worship services included readings from the Bible, singings of songs, psalms and hymns, and sermons. And there was no deviation. The clergy were known to be strict, and some even had officials stationed at the doors to prevent people from leaving church early. So there was no sneaking out. The Code of 1650 was heavily influenced by Puritan beliefs and effectively established the Congregational Church in New England. Not only were you expected to attend, you were expected to pay taxes to the church, members or not. And some chose to not be members, especially newcomers to the community, but as the witch panics demonstrated, non-members were the first to be accused. Whereas Connecticut kept poor records of the witch trials, we do know much more about the witch trials due to the Salem, Massachusetts trials held in the summer and winter of 1692-93, because they kept more complete and detailed diaries of the events. The law at the time didn't allow for the accused to have legal representation in the court of law. That is the Sixth Amendment of our Bill of Rights. You were allowed to be an attorney in colonial America because wealthy people needed their land deeds, their wills, and other legal paper that protected their money and their land. But they were not allowed to defend a defendant in a court of law. The very first attorney was disbarred by walking into a courtroom and trying to defend his client. It also did not allow for double jeopardy, which we saw in the case of Rebecca Nurse in Salem. Rebecca Nurse was a very pious elderly woman in Salem in the summer of 1692, and she was accused of witchcraft. She had her whole trial, everything, and all the horrible things that went along with it, which I'll talk about in a moment. And the jury came back. They did have jury trials, and she was acquitted. But I believe it was a three-panel judge at the judges panel at the time, didn't like that. So they told the jury to go back and come back with another verdict. Well, there's only two verdicts, and she was ultimately hung a few days later. So the double jeopardy that we have protected in our Fifth Amendment rights were not afforded to them at the time. Now, a speedy trial was common, as is granted in our Fifth Amendment, simply because there was little else to do for entertainment and everyone would come out for the trial, everyone. Crowd the courthouse and then show up for the hangings, children also. It was considered a good education to demonstrate to children the consequences of not listening to your elders and not abiding by the Bible's laws. If you were accused of witchcraft, women were stripped naked or semi-naked to be examined for witch marks, a mole, a freckle, a skin tag, a scar, where they foolishly believed that a witch's familiar would feed off the witch. Many times the victim would be examined by women only if the victim was a woman. And that sounds okay until you realize the examination was being done in front of a male panel of judges in a completely crowded, packed courtroom, usually 2 floors, a balcony, and then the bottom floor filled with everyone in the community, including children, yet it was considered not sexual assault, and perfectly legitimate. The accused would often have their head shaved, stripped naked, walk backwards toward the panel of judges so as not to look upon them and thus cast an evil eye upon the innocent. No consequences were ever recorded for the false accusations in Salem or anywhere else in New England, even though the girls in Salem who were the accusers, the main instigators, were between the ages of 9 and 12 years old. They did freely admit that those that they accused, they did so falsely. They admitted to their lies in 1708 and in 1711. All who had been executed and accused had been exonerated. We also see the Fifth Amendment today protecting us from unreasonable search and seizure without a warrant specifying the exact items to be seized. Unless they are illegal or dangerous, you are to be properly compensated for your property if it is seized by the government today. Back then, it was an entire industry. All of your property would be seized by the government just as soon as you were accused. And then it was a whole industry making money from the person that arrested you. The sheriff would make money. The blacksmith would make money for making the shackles. The jailer would make money for putting you in jail. The person that was making the food for you, should you be lucky enough to be fed, would be paid. The person transporting you to and from the courthouse would be paid. The hangman would be paid. The person that would cart the body to the pile would be paid. Everyone was making money, and if the accused had any money at all, or family, they would be forced to pay. So it was a very lucrative industry. But the Eighth Amendment, that definitely would have at least saved Giles Corey in Salem, Massachusetts. And that's the Eighth Amendment, which protects us from cruel, unusual torture and punishment. Giles, if you know the story of Mr. Corey, he was crushed to death because he refused to plea. They asked him to plead guilty or innocent, and he refused. He knew if he said anything, one way or the other, his property would be seized and his children and grandchildren would lose everything. And that happened. Financial devastation happened throughout New England with the hundreds of people that had been accused. So he did not say a word, ended up losing his life, but his family did keep their property. So at this time, when the witch trials ended in Salem, and pretty much ended in New England, nobody else was executed. The last people to be accused were in the early 1700s, actually, in the town I grew up in, Colchester, Connecticut, were the last two women that were accused of witchcraft, and I believe the very early 1700s. They had switched the way they used the law in Salem. The use of spectral evidence had been acceptable during the summer of 1693, during the witch trial, 1692 to 1693 for the witch trials. And spectral evidence was used by all witch hunters, most especially by Cotton Mather, witch hunter general, who graduated from Harvard University at the ripe old age of 15. It just bothers me. 15 years old and off with their heads. He was at the center of the Salem witch panics and kept the fires flaming, encouraging the girls to accuse more and more people. Finally, it all came to a screeching halt when two things happened almost simultaneously. First, the girls accused the governor's wife of being a witch. That didn't go over really well. And funny enough, right after that, the governor said, I think we're going to stop this. I have a feeling the wife had something to say about that. Then Increase Mather, Cotton's uncle, who had been a very wise, learned scholar at the time, had been watching his nephew. And Increase decided to write a treatise stating that it be better that 10 guilty witches go free than one innocent person be condemned. I know you've heard that in various paraphrasing, and it's changed over the centuries, but Increase Mather was the one that is credited with first stating that particular phrase. The shift in law and justice happened swiftly, and the court shifted from a court of oyer and terminer, which means to hear and decide, and using spectral evidence, which basically spectral evidence is if I have a dream about you, and I go to the sheriff and I say, I dreamed about this person and they came into my house and they cast a spell on me, that's all it took to have you arrested, tried, convicted, and executed. Well, after Increase Mather wrote his treatise, it changed to a court of judicature, which means one needed actual evidence. Go figure. And by doing that, you could not accuse someone just by dreaming of them doing something witchy. So that is a little bit about our Bill of Rights and how it could have changed things in 1692, exactly 99 years later. And now we have November Sound with an original and a classic for your listening pleasure. Give them a hand.
Bare my soul to the winemaker, the baker writes my future on a cake. This whiskey, my acquaintance, now passionate love we make. I'm as cured as I can ever be. My heart don't feel, my eyes don't see. I'm sick with you and now you're sick of me. That's the way things have to be, but it's okay. My family says I'm different, but I know we're all the same. I'm as cured as I can ever be. My heart don't feel, my eyes don't see. We're sick with you, now you're sick of me. That's the way things have to be, but it's okay. It's okay. a Sunday kind of love. I wanna love that's on the square. Can't seem to find nobody who cares. And I'm on a lonely road that leads me nowhere. I want a Sunday kind of love. I do my Sunday dreaming and all my Sunday scheming, every minute, every hour, every day. And I'm hoping to discover a certain kind of lover who will show me the way. My arms need someone to enfold, to keep me warm when Mondays are cold. I'd love for all my life to have and to hold. I want a Sunday kind of love. I want a Sunday kind of love.
That was November Sound, everyone. Excellent. That was so great. I have a great surprise, just a wonderful segment for you. We have an in-studio guest I'm so excited to introduce to you. Everyone give a hand to my friend, Ms. Jessie Muniz Poland. Now, oh my goodness, it's so great to see you again. Thank you for being
you for
here.
having me.
Oh, this is so great. Well, as I said at the beginning, you're a mom, you're Latina, you're an elected public official, you're braver than me. And we want to talk to you about what you've been doing. And I know you have a few things you want to say, so let's start.
It's to find, I knew where you were,
Okay.
but life got in the way. I remember when you moved to the new place, and
yeah.
my children were just a little bit older at that stage in time. But when they were smaller, I remember walking into your store. My daughter, Alicia, said at 10, "You know what, Mom? I think I'm going to be a witch."
I love it.
I said, "Okay, no problem."
What'd you think of that?
I had absolutely no worries about it. I come from an island, archipelago that has different cultures, and we have
And that's,
Puerto Rico.
oh, wonderful.
So there's Catholicism, there's religions that come through from Africa that from the slaves brought to the island that we've assimilated, that we've grown up with. So for me, it was nothing. You want to be a witch?
Ah,
No
wonderful.
problem.
love
Let's
it.
find someone that can help you, because that's not me. And we found you. We found
wonderful.
you on Halloween.
Oh, really? Oh.
Your house was the house.
Oh, that's right. You reminded me of that.
The house with the cauldron and the smoke and
Oh, it's
the
like that every
witch.
day.
So then we got your card that night, And the next day we went.
Oh,
And I ordered it because remember Harry Potter was huge.
Harry Potter was huge.
So we ordered the wands.
Yes.
And then we got the fairy dust, and you explained the fairy dust to her. And then you had the potions class.
Oh, yes.
She was 10. She's 30. She just turned 33
Oh,
on the 4th.
it's a good thing I don't age.
Me either. So to see you again, and she said thank you for your book. She posted it on
I saw
Facebook.
Yeah.
She was so excited. So her memories and her childhood have you in it as a big part. So for me, it is an honor and an absolute privilege to be here with someone who helped me raise my daughter freely, to express herself freely. And I'm sure I'm not the only parent who feels that way about you.
I've had a lot of parents
But
come in. Yeah.
absolutely, you were a big part of our children's lives.
Oh, that's great. No.
Didn't want my children growing up restricted.
Oh, that's great.
We of course had discipline, like you can't be out at 2 a.m, or
Oh,
there's a
of
curfew.
course.
This is a safe place.
And you were exploring it with her.
I was.
That's the way you want to do it.
We want to. We got a kit. You had a kit, and we bought the kit.
Oh, wow,
With
when I
the
had the
mantle and.
Yeah.
So I got her that, and she's a Wiccan minister now.
Is she really?
Yes, she goes to the Church of Enlightenment.
Oh, that's wonderful.
She has never stopped, and
Oh, that makes me feel so good.
I tell her that she is my soul. So
Oh, that is so lovely.
I'm very happy for her.
Oh, wow. That's
And it all
really-
started with
thank you.
Little Corner Store.
A little corner store. Thank you so much. Tell her I'm so proud of her.
Thank you.
I became a Wiccan minister before I even opened my store. So it's just been a really long path. So that's very exciting. But you have your own path. Now, how did you, a mom bringing her 10-year-old into a witch shop in Manchester, how did you become an elected public official? What started the fire under your feet?
I've always loved politics. I couldn't wait to turn 18 to vote.
Oh, that's great.
And then my children started growing up, and I started getting more involved. I was on the Commission on Human Relations in Manchester because people are my thing. I love people.
That's awesome.
So then
you don't hear that every day.
I do. All kinds of people, all kinds of the Met cruising on Main. I can't fix a car.
Yeah.
But I love looking at cars.
Classic cars,
I have a wonderful time there.
Yeah.
I don't run, but I love the race.
The road race. Well, people
Love
come
it.
from all over the world to the
know.
road race. Yeah.
I love our trails, so I actually love when people have places that are spaces for them
Yes.
where they feel they can express themselves, whether it's running or going to enchantments or cars.
Yeah.
It's like an energy boost for me.
Oh,
So that's how I got involved. I started volunteering with my kid. I was president of the PTA.
Oh, perfect.
Then one day there was an opening, and the first Latina and Puerto Rican to have my seat prior to me was Yolanda Castillo. She was the first ever in the history of the 200 years of Manchester, 200 plus years of Manchester, was the first.
Wow.
So then she left, and she said, representation is so important.
Want to be represented. Yeah. If you had like a vision for the future, you have kids, hopefully you'll have grandkids, or you were president of the PTA.
I have cats and dogs.
Cats and dogs. What would your vision be for the young people of our communities for the future? What do you hope for them?
Forgive me, but I know it sounds woke. But it's real.
Oh, I love woke. And I'll tell you in a minute exactly the origin of the word woke. A lot of people don't know it. But go
I
ahead.
want clusters of safe spaces that interact, like puzzle pieces.
Yes.
I don't like the north end of somewhere not interacting with the south end of somewhere.
Right.
Or a village here not interacting with this side of
Right?
east, that bothers me. So
Yeah.
interconnection.
Borders. I don't like borders.
I don't like borders.
Yeah.
I want every space open for families, for single people,
Yeah.
where they don't feel weirded out. Oh, I'm single. I can't be here because there's too many families. No,
Yeah.
we want you.
You're welcome.
Everyone has so much to offer, and I'm corny, I know, but I want that to happen. Like we do the interconnections with the trails.
Yes.
With Hebron and
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
in Tallinn, like you can go Case Mountain, you get on one side and you end up at another. I want that, but with spaces.
With spaces. I
I want spaces. I want clusters of spaces, whether it's for the LGBTQ plus community, where other kids can come in and hang out and do art. Or the Manchester Latino Affairs Council has their event. I'm a part of it. It's not
Yeah.
there. It's our event because it's Manchester.
Yeah.
But everybody
Yeah.
can come.
Like a
Everybody's
music event. Everybody is drawn to
Music,
music.
yes.
Everyone loves art. Everybody loves music. Everybody loves November Sound.
Mark is having their like we love music and we love dancing.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
anytime-
yeah.
Like Mark Inc. is having their salsa night.
What? Salsa night? Oh.
I know. Yes, next Tuesday. So it's like
That
you're
sounds great.
You're seeing it in places that normally or traditionally do other stuff. So that's how we come together as a community.
That's awesome. Yeah.
We play Metallica and we play salsa.
Oh,
we
that's
we
awesome.
connect with all types of people. So that's why I ran for elected office. I have that vision. I have that dream. Right now we have we're going to do a ribbon cutting, which is not really ribbon cutting, but during the ARPA, when we got that money, an amount was allocated, for birthing families. So
Birthing families. Okay.
Manchester has an average of 756 births a year.
Oh.
And we read up on Switzerland and Netherlands, they do baby boxes
Oh, I love that.
for everyone who has a baby or adopted, and they get one. And because the first 6 weeks of birth, you're completely alone until that checkup. And the vaccines that the baby gets, everything is at 6 weeks. So postpartum sets in when you're not connected.
So what does the baby box have?
It has books, it has a planner, it has diapers, it has a blood pressure breather for mom. And they're going to connect every week, and there's going to be gift
so
cards.
somebody
will
connects
always
with you.
connect with the person who receives.
Because I was wondering about the post.
No. That every single week for
somebody
6 weeks.
calls you.
You will be connected, whatever you need. We talk about our children being everything.
Yeah.
Well, let's start when they're born
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and give them
keeping mom healthy and happy.
mom healthy.
Give her what they need.
It's not about income every time.
It's not only
about
just
community.
single moms.
It's not
for
about single moms. It's
any
about
family
families,
that has
adopted
new
families.
children or
Yes.
adopted children, someone new in the house.
Someone new in the house. It's
Oh, wow.
0 to 3 months. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's wonderful.
I'm excited.
That is so exciting. Now, if somebody was interested in this, who do they contact?
Human services. We're gonna
Human Services.
We're gonna start sending out because we haven't.
Okay.
And I'm not human services, so I shouldn't say
But
we.
now we can put the
but-
contact information, but if another town watching was interested in perhaps picking up and running with a pilot program like this.
Precious Edwards is our Precious
Edwards.
She is the health equity director for it.
Okay, well, we can always put some contact information
I will get your
here.
contact information. I would
Because I think that
absolutely.
would be really important because, again, if it could be something that perhaps somebody in some of these towns are watching and would like to maybe bring this to their town, I think that would be really awesome.
I'm
So-
excited.
Well, thank you so much,
you.
Jesse, for being here, and I hope I could have you again. I know
Oh, thank
we want to
you.
talk about
Yes.
the Pride Festival that we're planning next year. We're going to put that into, more, we're going to cement that down a little bit because I'm planning one and I find out Jesse's planning one and it's going to be in the same town. And we're like, what? Great minds. So once it starts to come together, we're going to let you guys know more about this. So anyway, thank you
Thank you,
so
Miss
much
Faith.
for being here. And I look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you.
I hope you guys enjoyed it. And thank you again. Give her
Thank
a hand,
you.
everyone. All right.
And thank you to everybody.
Thank you. Welcome back. And now some dark truths behind fairy tales. Oh, we've all grown up having our parents. Hopefully you've had your parents read you fairy tales. And I think we all have seen Disney movies, which are kind of the sanitized version of fairy tales. And it's a good thing that this show is on at 10 o'clock at night because some of this information is, get the little ones out of the room. Old fairy tales were really cautionary tales. The Brothers Grimm, interesting, their last name, Grimm, they went around Germany. Some believe they went around Europe, gathering old European fairy tales from different cultures. There's also a belief that one of the brothers' wives basically told him all the stories from her upbringing. But wherever they got the old stories, they were cultural, they were ethnic, they went back centuries in some case. And stories back then, whether they were mythology that we know from like the Greek myths, whether it was the stories in the old Hebrew Bible, whether it was, different groups had different myths, they were all written down for a reason, the same reason, to remind people and to teach people and to tell a story and to possibly learn as you go forward not to make the same mistakes. And whether you have a little bit of truth in them or whether you don't believe them at all, they all have something to teach us. Pied Piper of Hamelin. And they believe that this occurred on the 26th of June, a Sunday, in 1284. Well, plague was infecting the entire region. Now, I've done a lot of research on the bubonic plague, so this was not the bubonic plague because it did not get into Europe until the end of the 1300s. So this was probably a smaller type of plague, not what we know as the bubonic plague, and there were plenty around. Just take your pick. But some type of plague or disease was infecting the region. And the first time the story was recorded is in the Lüneburg manuscript in 1440 to 1450. This was written. It read, in the year 1284, after the birth of Christ from Hamelin, were led 130 children born at this place, led away by a piper into a mountain. There are many variations on the story. Some say the leaders of the town hired the piper to rid the town of the rats. And he did and said that he would return later. Some say a day, some say a year and a day. And that when he returned, he expected to receive payment. When he didn't receive his pay, he took the children when every adult was in church, leading the children away with music. All of the diary accounts, and there are many more, talk about all of the children disappearing in one day. What happened to them, we don't really know, except in the town of Hamelin, Germany, in the 1200s, over 100 children are recorded to have vanished in one day without a trace, never to be seen again. Were they abducted? Were they killed? Were warring tribes responsible? Another fairy tale tells of a tragic fate that affected many families throughout the early and Middle Ages, famine. We see this in the story of Hansel and Gretel. Hansel and Gretel were brought out deep into the woods by their parents because of a famine. Tragically, this fairy tale harkens back to the witch trials in Germany. Published in 1812, two siblings of a family had nothing to eat, and the father was a woodcutter. Hansel and Gretel overhear their parents planning on leaving them alone, abandoning them in the woods. Hansel gathers white stones. As the parents lead them into the woods, Hansel drops the stones and they found their way home. The father is happy, the stepmother is disappointed. The next night, the parents lead them away into the woods again. Before this trip, Hansel gathers a handful of breadcrumbs and drops them along the way. When the children tried to find their way back, the story goes that the birds had eaten the breadcrumbs and they got lost. They finally found their way through the woods and came across, as we know the story to be, what looked like a gingerbread house, a house made of bread and cake, candy, and an old woman was inside. She gathered the children up, promising them food. She locked them inside, and she locked Hansel into a cage, and she wanted to fatten him up. He was very smart because apparently the old witch didn't have very good eyesight. They didn't have cataract surgery back then. So he would stick an old chicken bone out every day when she went to feel and see how fat he was getting. And finally, she was going to eat him anyway. So she tells Gretel, get the fire going. And so Gretel tricks her, pushes her into the oven. There's a lot of murder going on here, potential cannibalism. It's pretty horrific. But unfortunately, the story ends in a good way. After they dispatch of the evil old woman, I don't think she was a witch, actually. They were able to ransack her house and they got her jewels, and apparently she had quite a lot of riches, and they found their way home. When they got home, the evil stepmother had died and they reunited with the father. They had enough riches and they were able to live happily and apparently be able to buy food. Well, in the late 18th and early 19th century, Germany suffered from multiple famines. There was an estimate 40% population loss due to starvation and disease between 1708 and 1711. Another famine hit between 1771 and 1772. The Grimm brothers were born in 1785 and 1786, respectively. They may have encountered older people who lived through these events that told them the stories. Some tried to justify these events, saying that the killing of children was to keep this older members of the family alive, keep the stronger older members of the family alive, as childhood mortality was rampant. Living past the age of 5 was very difficult, and sacrificing the youngest, though abhorrent to us today, as we consider our youngest our most precious and vulnerable of our family units, then people had a different outlook. They would be killed because there was not enough food to go around. When women in Germany were accused of witchcraft, they were often accused of killing and eating the children. The witch in this story of Hansel and Gretel trying to throw the children in the oven, in this story, most likely comes from these stories. This story was most likely inspired by the famine of 1314 to 1350. It was reported that in Europe at the time, a rain came and pretty much never stopped for several years. And this can be proven if you look at weather records and individuals that study historical weather patterns. They said even the King of England was having a hard time getting bread. Many of the elderly in some communities would starve themselves so their families could survive. It was reported that between 5 and 15% of all of Northern Europe died of starvation and related diseases from this particular famine in the early 1300s. Well, there is a darker side to all of this also. Sadly, an anti-Semitic side. When Adolf Hitler's Nazi Party came to power in Germany, they too strove to shape German nationalism, but in a horrible way. They used the Brothers Grimm's stories as propaganda to promote their anti-Semitic beliefs. The Germans, the Nazis. They used characters like Snow White, Little Red Riding Hood, and Cinderella as symbols of Aryan purity, whilst villains like the Big Bad Wolf were used to portray those they felt threatened Germany, mainly the Jewish people. There are plenty of anti-Semitic tropes ripe for Nazi usage in Grimm's tales, such as the witches being long, hook-nosed, horrible people accused of harming children, the cannibalistic tendencies often attributed falsely to Jewish populations throughout much of history. And some of Grimm's tales read like Nazi propaganda long before Hitler's editors and illustrators got a hold of them. The effectiveness of using some of the Grimm's fairy tales to propagandize German children was so great that many schools of Allied countries banned the fairy tales following World War II. Today, most of the fairy tales written by the Grimm brothers have been reimagined in new contexts and distance themselves from the sordid, horrific past, as they should be. And many of the original tales were so dark, it's hard to imagine reading them to a child at all. Cinderella is the most famous one, and it has a better history. As a matter of fact, it might not have the history that you think. It's dated back to the Chinese story in the 9th century, Yi Xing. Yi Xing was a beautiful and bright young girl in China who had an evil stepmother. There's always an evil stepmom. The young girl made friends with a fish. The stepmother was jealous of the girl's beauty because her own daughter was not so pretty. And when she discovered Yi Xing had made friends with a fish, she caught the fish and cooked it for dinner. That's just terrible. Yi Xing was so upset, and in her grief, she gathered her friend's bones, which a wise old man told her were filled with a spirit that could grant wishes when she was in need. After her stepmother forbade her from attending the spring festival where young girls attended to meet their future husbands, she asked the bones to grant her a dress and slippers. They granted her a beautiful dress and golden slippers. The beautiful Yi Xing attracted much attention at the festival, but was forced to flee. When her sister noticed her, she knew she'd be in trouble, so she ran quickly, losing a slipper along the way. The king was determined to find the beautiful, elusive owner of the slipper. The king placed the slipper in a pavilion where the woman to whom it belonged could claim it. And then he made an announcement all through the kingdom. When Yi Xing sneaked into the pavilion to claim it, because she was desperate to restore the fish bones of her friend together with its magical powers, the king saw her and married her. The evil stepmother and daughter were sent to live in a cave where they were crushed to death with stones. Our modern version of Cinderella is believed to be the work of Charles Perrault, 1697, who took the Yi Xing story and added a fairy godmother, a pumpkin, and a slipper made of glass. This is the version we are most familiar with. So when you think about a fairy tale, it might have a darker history than you remember. I would personally stick with the Disney ones. They're a lot lighter and a lot happier. Thank you. If you would like to send us an email, we have a couple of new things for you. Check us out at our new email at enchantmentsct@gmail.com. And if you'd like to check out more about my place and what I do, I have a brand new website. It's called enchantmentsct.com. And you'll see more about my store, more about my school, more about me, what I do, and you can find out everything on there. So please check it out. Is it your dream to be on television, to have your own TV show? You can do it too. Contact your local public access TV station and they'll help you make your dream a reality. I'd like to thank everyone on the crew and at CVC. my guest, Jesse Poland, and November Sound. And I want you all to please help me keep focusing on peace in the Middle East and Slava Ukraini. Thank you very much for watching, and be well. Thank you.